Hi, I'm Mark Taylor.
Carrie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Carrie. I've enjoyed reading through your materials and information. And to get started, why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in the University City area, the University City School District, and I really appreciate philosophy and just have a firm appreciation for education and the value and opportunity that it brings to people's lives when they're invested in growing themselves. I am 29, I have a son of my own, so that really inspires me to be a teacher, just to be on topic. And I love intellectual games and sports like chess, pool, just anything that really gets the wheels in the brain working. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what led you to become a teacher?
I really just want to make an impact on society where I can help grow and develop responsible and very sufficient thinkers that'll make a great impression on society. And I really have a passion I really think it's 8th graders because of my experience in 8th grade. I feel like there were a lot of things that I wasn't told going into high school that I think I'd be able to afford the students there and help them prepare for that very important period where they have to transition into high school. So,
Thank you. Briefly share with me your educational philosophy.
My educational philosophy is whether it be formal or informal, I really think that education is the foundation of being able to reach your highest potential in life. And I want to be able to bring my skills and abilities to students and our youth so that not only they'll be able to grow, but I'll be able to grow as an individual myself and make a greater impact.
Okay, thank you. What do you consider to be your strengths as a teacher?
My strengths, I think my ability to be receptive to different learning styles. I like to take the learning-centered approach to teaching versus the teacher-centered approach, which basically just focuses on the teacher and their projection of the material onto the student, more so how receptive they are as a student, whether it's kinesthetic learning abilities. Like, I want to make sure that I'm able to assess their learning abilities and make sure that they are really connecting with the material versus just teaching a class. And not only that, the value in my classroom management skills, just being able to embed and subconsciously project some of those moral values like respect, focus, listening, the value of having 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you're able to follow and get the best results out of what it is you do, regardless whether it's school or work.
Thank you. What would you say is an area that you can improve upon as a teacher?
I really have a soft spot for students who are in need. If I see a student that is without or they really are in need of something, I want to make sure that I'm there to them, but I think I sometimes overextend myself in that area where I have to kind of find a common ground or just an area where I could make sure that I'm not, where I'm not leaving myself at a disadvantage just to help a student, even though it's important that they have those things, or just exhausting resources.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Looking ahead to your first teaching job, how would you approach the very first day of school?
I make sure that students are aware of my expectations of them, so there is no room for error in the procedures that I put in place. I want to make sure that the students understand those procedures, so making sure that the objectives are up on the board, they're aware of what they should be doing at all times in class. With other teaching experience that I had, a teacher showed me some trust building exercises that students do just to learn and understand each other, where, you know, he had us write down a number of things about ourselves, maybe 2 or 3 things that we'd be able to share with the class, and he made us exchange those things in class, and we had to introduce each other in the classroom, so not necessarily ourselves. So just a few things that I could implement to kind of set the tone for structure.
All right, thank you. What do you consider to be the #1 challenge facing education today?
I really believe that it is challenging students' potential, whether it's students with an extreme ability to learn in a certain area, or students who don't necessarily have those abilities, but keeping them engaged. I really think, even when I was in school, like making sure that, I mean, not necessarily me in particular, but just noticing that my classmates were really engaged in the topic and making sure that that's applicable and useful to them in life.
Thank you. What is one question you wish I could ask you, or would ask you?
That's a big question. Let's see.
When do you want to start?
A good question I believe that you should ask me would be, what do I expect to derive from teaching?
Okay, so what do you expect to derive from teaching?
I really want to make sure that I offer students all the opportunities that I never had. I want to make sure that students come away with a sense of value, principles, morals that they may not be receiving in other settings. I want to be able to just really counteract a lot of the disadvantages that society may serve these students, that we might be able to offer them through education, you know, so that they can overcome and excel regardless of what their background is. And just seeing that.
Thank you. How will you approach classroom management?
Well, there have been a few rhymes that I've been introduced to in some of the elementary level classes to get students' attention. With classroom management, I really think it's important to make sure that those procedures are in place, like you mentioned, and as you studied with Mr. Harry Wong. And in those principles, in those procedures, I want to make sure that students have a clear outline, objective of what their expectations are from the beginning of class to the finish of class. So there are not many rooms for question and chaos. So with classroom management skills, I really think I bring just structure. I really think I give students the ability to realize what they're capable of. And I would have to say, some of those rhymes that I was introduced to Like, when students are in a group and they're enjoying themselves and there seems to be a lot of noise in the classroom, a teacher would say, "Holy moly," and the class would respond, "Guacamole." Mm-hmm. And that means all eyes and ears are on the teacher, mm-hmm. because it's just random, mm-hmm. but it's so random that it gets everybody's attention so that they can focus. And I really thought that that was a good way for students to refocus on the task.
One final question, and then I'll give you a chance to ask some questions if you'd like. Why should we hire you?
I really think that I would be an asset to this school district. I know that my passion for learning and education and students and developing a society that is productive, responsible, and getting back to discovery of their talents and skills and abilities is really important. I mean, assessing students' abilities is important too, but them realizing their abilities is just as important, and I really want to emphasize on that as a teacher. So I think hiring me would be not only valuable to the school district, but to myself and the students as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask me?
Yes. Do I qualify?
Do you qualify? Well, we wouldn't be interviewing you if you didn't meet the qualifications.
Well, just based on my perspective, do you believe that I carry some of the attributes that you're looking for in a solid teacher in your school district?
Well, let me answer your question this way. What I like to do is have a chance to digest the interview, mm-hmm. and we'll have a chance to watch it, get some feedback from my colleagues, and then decide if you're the candidate that we're looking for.
Okay. What do you think some of the challenges have been in this school district in comparison to some of the other school districts, or just some of the challenges that you've run into as a teacher that I might be able to learn?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, although I think we're having some success with it, is just being open to new ideas, to try new things in our approaches to teaching.
Okay. And how soon were you looking at those positions?
Our goal is we have a couple more candidates to interview this week, and then make a decision at least in 2 weeks.
Okay. That's good to know.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Delightful.